Scaffolding, an aid in classroom instruction. Today I want to discuss with you instructional scaffolding. My objectives will be to provide you a definition of instructional scaffolding, talk about its development, give some examples, and provide some of the benefits associated with scaffolding. Instructional scaffolding is a learning process designed to promote a deeper level of learning. Scaffolding is the support given during the learning process, which is tailored to the needs of the student, with the intention of helping the student achieve his or her learning goals. Like instructional scaffolding, construction scaffolding is shaped to meet the needs of any given project and is temporary in nature. You can see here that construction scaffolding has conformed to the building shape and size and is going to allow a worker safe and unfettered access to the exterior of the building. A better example is the dome here in Washington, D.C. at the U.S. Capitol. You see how the scaffolding conforms to the structure, and it's going to allow the worker safe access. And again, you can see how construction scaffolding conforms to the shape and size of each project. With here, you have the Christ Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, and you can see how the scaffolding is shaped to the sculpture itself, and it's going to allow workers unfettered access to the facade of the structure so they can achieve their goals in renovating or repairing that surface. So with those three primary examples of construction scaffolding, you can see how they elicit instruction scaffolding characteristics. They are tailored to the individual site or the student. They're going to support the goals of the student or the workers in the case of construction, and they're temporary in nature. They're designed to fall away upon completion of work or upon achieving the academic goals set forth by the student. Development of instructional scaffolding is rooted in Lev Vygotsky's 1978 idea of the zone of proximal development. Seen here in this figure, the zone of proximal development is the secondary layer of knowledge. The primary layer is the layer in which the student can independently has that knowledge. The secondary layer is the zone of knowledge in which the student can achieve with assistance from a mentor, or from a faculty member, or an educator. And it's here that the scaffolding or instructional scaffolding is used to help bridge that gap, so that the helps facilitate that transfer of knowledge so the student can move further into that zone of proximal development. The third layer, which was not discussed, is a layer in which the student is not capable of learning with or without assistance. Here's a different perspective of the zone of proximal development, in which the blue represents the knowledge of both the student and the professor. And then the knowledge transfer, represented by the orange group, is supported by the instructional scaffolding. The instructional scaffolding helps facilitate the transfer of that knowledge, thereby again the student and the professor achieving a similar level of knowledge on any given subject based on the class structure and the goals of the structure. Some types and examples of instructional scaffolding. Let's talk really about categories. We have advanced organizers. These are tools that are used to introduce new content and tasks to help students learn about certain topics. Within the figure, you can see a Venn diagram and a rubric. These are two primary examples of advanced organizers. You can also have organizational charts and any number of other tools that can be used to help facilitate the knowledge transfer. Another being cue cards. These are prepared cards given to individuals or groups of students to assist in their discussion about a particular topic or content area. A third category would be concept and mind maps. These are maps that show relationships. They can be your geographic maps, or they can be like industrial IE maps. They can be partially filled out, and it's going to facilitate learning and allow the students to fill in as they learn or as they feel more confident in their knowledge. Along with those three primary examples, we have plenty of other categories of scaffolding and examples of each. Examples, explanations, handouts, hints, prompts, question cards, question stems, stories, and visual scaffolds all represent additional categories of instructional scaffolding, and within each of those there's various examples that how teachers implement scaffolding and what do they use to implement scaffolding within their classroom. What are the benefits of instructional scaffolding? Well, the primary benefit is the truly engagement of the instructor. They're constantly having to review and modify and adapt their techniques and their categories that they're using to transfer knowledge, because they're always evaluating the progression of the student. So in order to optimize that progression and allow the student to achieve their end goals, they're evaluating and adopting their methodology in which they're delivering the material. And that's the primary benefit of instructional scaffolding. And finally, instructional scaffolding, through others we become ourselves. This is a quote from Vygotsky and tends to represent the fact that as students learn, they're reflecting the knowledge of their professors or educators or instructors or mentors, that they ultimately become what they are taught. Thank you.